It is hard to believe that Dishonored is almost 8 years old as of the making of this video. The game itself seemed so unique at the time, with having such a high emphasis on player freedom. Just looking through the game's manual makes me nostalgic for a time when video game manuals often actually made you excited to load up a game and play it. The game came out in 2012, which as a whole was a really interesting year for gaming, with a lot of great games coming out, as well as a lot more controversial titles like Diablo 3 and Mass Effect 3. With the announcement of the Arcane 20th Anniversary bundle, I figured now would be a good time to actually look back at Dishonored and see how the base game stands up today. Dishonored has some of the very best world building I've ever seen in a game. It is one of those games where, while it does tell you stuff about the world, you can learn everything you need to know just by looking around and exploring during gameplay sections. The world also feels so unique, with it drawing from a variety of different real-world and fictional inspirations to make a memorable yet unique gameplay world in a way that many games fail to do. The world feels alive as you see it change as a result of your actions, but I'll talk more about that later. The main area of the game you explore is the city of Dunwall. The city has a small rat problem. Also a rat zombie problem. These so-called Weepers have lost any sense of rational thought, and while being highly contagious, will attack anyone who isn't infected on sight. The Weepers are created by a rat plague which has devastated the city, forcing the neighbouring nations to blockade it. Play as Corvo Atano, the royal protector who is just returning to the Empress he is tasked with protecting after a long mission overseas in research of a possible solution to the rat plague. Not only does he fail to find a solution, but Corvo brings the dire news that the neighbouring countries are planning to blockade Dunwall as a response to the rat plague. Before you deliver this news to the Empress, you have a chance to take part in a game of hide and seek with the Empress's daughter Emily. This acts as a decent tutorial to the game's stealth mechanics, and also is optional. The next section introduces the player to melee and ranged combat, with you having to defend the Empress and her daughter from a number of assassins. Eventually, however, the Empress is assassinated, and her daughter is kidnapped, which ends with the blame being placed on Corvo because of the lack of other witnesses.
Woe to Saul, look at what he's done.
Yes, he's killed the Empress. What did you do with young Lady Emily, traitor?
Her own bodyguard. Ironic.
I'll see you beheaded for this, Corvo. Take him.
The missions are designed in a way that really does encourage player freedom. While you have clear objectives you have to complete in a level, the way you go about doing that and the steps you take to get to the target are completely up to you. The game is also heavily stealth-focused, with you being told at the end of every mission if you manage to not be detected. However, this does not mean you must only play stealthily, since it is always viable to just charge in and blow stuff up, with it mainly coming down to player preference when determining playstyle. Many of the missions will have a variety of different side quests which you may choose to complete for rewards. Sometimes these side missions are given to you before you even start the mission, and other times you have to explore to be able to find them. Occasionally, side missions may end up having a direct impact on the mission by giving you details on methods to eliminate the target, or how to infiltrate the target's location. There are a lot of games that claim that your choices matter, and most of the time it is pure bullshit. This is not the case in Dishonored, because your choices do actually have a direct impact on the world around you, although not in the usual way that you would expect. Instead of making choices in cutscenes, it is the amount of people you choose to kill that affects the story. If you murder a lot of people, the rat plague will spread more quickly and get control within the city. Sure, it's not as dramatic as other games, but it doesn't need to be, and it works really well here. One of the most important options made in each level is how you will deal with eliminating the target. The game in most cases gives several structured options to achieve this, while still allowing the player to just kill the target however they want. There is normally at least one option to eliminate the target without killing them, but these options are normally longer, with them often requiring the completion of a side quest, and can be very morally questionable, like giving a woman to a stalker. The abilities for which the outsider has given you open up many different gameplay options. These are split into two main categories: powers, which give abilities such as being able to see through walls, or release small whirlwinds, and enhancements, which affect Corvo's physical abilities such as increased agility and health. Probably the most important of these powers is Blink, which allows the player to teleport short distances, which helps with both traversing the levels and in combat. These powers can be upgraded by spending runes which can be found around the world and as rewards for some side missions. To find them in the open world, the outsider is given a unique device which helps you track them. It even beats faster the closer you are. It is worth upgrading the powers, as some not only become more powerful, but also become more versatile, such as the possession power, which when upgraded allows you to take control of humans. There are also a series of bone charms that can be found in the same way as runes. These bone charms are essentially collectible enhancements, with each of them giving different abilities to Corvo, which can vastly affect the options in playstyle players have. When it comes to combat itself, your right hand will always carry your sword, which you can use to block an attack. Your left hand can either equip a ranged weapon, a power, or a utility piece of equipment, such as a device which allows you to rewire things such as the walls of light. This equipment allows you to engage the enemies in your preferred style, be that picking them off one by one from the shadows with lethal or non-lethal crossbow bolts, or by charging headfirst with grenades and a pistol. These weapons can also get upgrades purchasable from Petro at the Hound Pits pub. Stealth is one of the most important features in the game. Each level is designed with stealth in mind, giving players plenty of opportunities to move and strike from the shadows. Of course, stealth takes a lot longer than playing loudly, but it can be far more rewarding and allows you to avoid tougher fights. An important aspect in the stealth system is that it is best that players hide the bodies of guards that have been knocked out or killed, since other guards will raise the alarm if they find them, which will make it harder to sneak around. Luckily, the game allows you to make manual saves at any time, meaning that if you do make a mistake, you can either go with it or reload to an earlier save. The nature of the gameplay and level design allows for a vast amount of replayability through not only whether or not you kill people, but the different approaches you can take on each level. There is enough of an incentive to replay levels to see how different methods of eliminating the target play out. The game also features the ability to replay specific levels. For an example of how the gameplay comes together in a level, let's take a look at your first job as an assassin after escaping prison. In this mission, you are tasked by the Loyalist Conspiracy to eliminate the leader of the Abbey of the Everyman, High Overseer Campbell, for his part in the assassination of the Empress. Your secondary objective is to rescue an ally called Martin from the Overseers, and you have also been requested to save a captain of the City Watch called Kurnow, who the High Overseer is planned to poison, but rescuing Kurnow is optional. You are dropped into the heart of the city at the Distillery District and left to make your own way towards the office of the High Overseer. You don't have to head straight there though, and you can go hunting for runes to make your powers stronger, and even do some side quests, such as helping an innocent old lady.
Oh, my. I think I have gentlemen callers again, but not the way I used to, not the nice ones. I hear them, and they're not very polite ones either. Granny Rags, let us in. Ah, well, they'll go away again if they know what's good for them. But what a bother. Here's the key to the front door, love. You'll see to those ruffians, won't you?
Once you make your way to the office of the High Overseer, rescuing Martin along the way, you must find a way inside and eliminate Campbell. There are many options for infiltrating the building. Players who prefer stealth may decide to utilise their newfound powers to traverse their way onto higher up ledges, allowing for easy access to the upper levels of the building. Or perhaps they may prefer to enter from below, by sneaking their way through the kennels, being careful to avoid the dogs. Of course, if stealth is not to their taste, players may decide to simply storm the building by force, leaving a mountain of corpses as they go. When it comes to actually eliminating the target, you are also given a variety of different options. If you have been paying attention, you will find out that the High Overseer plans to kill Kurnow via a poisonous drink. With this knowledge, you are able to either swap the drinks to only poison the Overseer, or mix the drinks to poison the two men. Another option is to just smash the drinks, which leads to the Overseer leading Kurnow into a secret underground room, which makes it easier to eliminate him without being spotted. This is all assuming, of course, you can follow them without being caught yourself. Of course, you could always just take him out with a well-placed crossbow bolt, or with a sword strike. Players who spend time looking around the office's archives will be able to discover a non-lethal option to eliminating the Overseer, where if they knock him out and take him to the interrogation room, they can brand the mark of the heretic onto him. If this option is chosen, the Overseer is outcast from the Church of the Everyman, and can actually be found later as a Weeper. Once the High Overseer is dealt with, players must then make their way down to the waterside where Samuel will pick them up once again. Dishonored has aged well in most aspects. The game runs pretty well with surprisingly fast loading times. I only encountered a few frame rate drops, but I believe that was just my recording software, since these issues are not there when I am not recording. The gameplay is pretty responsive, and melee combat feels great, especially when powers are incorporated into the mix. The game has so much depth that even after playing the game on multiple playthroughs over the years, I still find myself discovering things that I've never seen before. It is certainly one of the best games of its time, and it is without a doubt worth playing or replaying, even after all these years.